Hey everybody, it's Big Swiss CHH back with another review today, but this time it's going to be on the Glory Nights tour. So my wife and I and a couple friends from work got to go check out KB.
Who's next?
KB!
Tripoli, No Big Deal, Flame, Evan Kraft, Sam Rivera, Passion on their tour when they stopped here in Dallas this past weekend. And I kind of want to do just a breakdown of what that experience was like. I also got a chance to go to No Big Deal's pop-up beforehand, meet him, listen to some unreleased music. I wanted to talk about that. So this weekend was pretty packed. My wife and I, we flew to Kentucky because I'm going to be going to seminary next year. And so we flew in Thursday night. All day Friday was packed from 8 to 10, 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. And then we hopped a flight 6 a.m. Saturday to come back so we can go to Glory Nights. We got back around 12, and the pop-up started at 4. So I got like a 2-hour nap in and then drove over. And so I get to this spot in Dallas called the Heights Districts. It looks like kind of like a clothes store that has some interesting urban clothes that looked really cool that would probably never fit a giant like me. And then there was these like different rooms. It was like a maze of themed rooms. And so what they had done was Dilly had set up like a merch store and like just a listening area. So we go through this little maze, if you will, of rooms, and we get to kind of meet Dilly, say hi, chat with him a little bit. I got to talk to him. Got a picture with him and everything. He was super nice. I asked him a couple questions about how the tour was going. What was he like learning along the way? How was he changing his show on the fly? And he said he was going to do something different that he didn't want to spoil. And I think I know what he was talking about after seeing the show. But the best part was just that he got to play a lot of unreleased music for us. And he announced kind of his 10-month plan of releases, which sounded really interesting. And he played the next release song that's going to come out in November, and man, it's a heater. And I got like a little bit of snippet for you. I'm going to play a few right here.
So don't post this until it comes out.
I will not post it. Just kidding. I would not do that. Dilly was very nice to play that for us early. Let us hear it. So I thought I'd have fun with you on that one. But anyway, so he played a bunch of unreleased music. If you're watching this, the freestyle one, which I actually didn't get video of you doing, but there was a video, or there was a snippet I have of you coming out and saying that, oh yeah, that was actually just a freestyle. But that was like this gritty 2000s, like Rhymesayers Def Jux beat that just sounded super raw, and you should release that, definitely.
That's just a freestyle. Yeah. Woo! Let's go.
So he played us a couple songs that have been unreleased, some that are coming up, and then he also took some time to talk to DJ B Plus and I about his use of demons in there. So keep a lookout for that video. He and I are going to do a compilation together talking about how rappers use demon bars, and then use some scriptural references, and hopefully get a couple more interviews with some people about how they use it and what inspired them. So anyways, the pop-up ends, and I shoot over to pick up my wife, and we go to the show. And so here's one thing you should know about Christian hip-hop concerts, or just Christian concerts in general. If it says 7 o'clock is the start time, 7 o'clock is the start time. This isn't your secular artist. They're going to probably start 30, 45 minutes late, let everyone sit down, or like, doors are at 6, shows at 7, but the show really starts at like, 7:30, 7:45. No, it starts at 7. So because I had to go back and get my wife and come back, we got some traffic, and we missed Sam Rivera and Flame. And while we were walking in, Dilly started his set. And so Dilly comes out, he goes raw. He does a really cool version of Close with like words on the background. It looked really good. It was just really personal. The things that he shared from the stage were great. And it was just like, oh, perfect. I walked in right at the great time. He kills it. He plays his verse from CC, and he ends with like the Holy Smoke chorus, which was dope. And he was just going off.
We made our own lane and now they all say that we We got more rings and Audis. I'm body my team, we the heat like the Saudis. Live in the South with my family from Cali. And shout out to Bay, we don't live in the valley. My whole crew look like it's calico. And maybe a panda, you got it, bro. You say I'm proud and violent. I just won't bury my talent. Might be conceited.
And then when he was finished, then Passion came out, which was totally a left field departure in my mind. Like, I'm going from super hard lyricist to worship music. And, you know, nothing against Passion. Their music's great and they're super talented. It just felt like a total left turn. Because then after Passion went out, then Trip came out. And Trip just, having seen him at the Unashamed tour earlier this year and then this show, this one felt a little, maybe it was just the way the room was set up. It was a little more intimate because Unashamed was at like a college basketball arena, and this was at Southside Ballroom. And just the crowd was super into it. There was like no lame ducks in the crowd. And he came out and he started with Stone, which is probably my favorite song off his new album. But the thing that was really cool was he had a live drummer. Passion's drummer and guitarist stayed out. And they played drums for KB and for Trip and for Evan Kraft. So Trip Lee comes out, does his thing, and then again, just another weird departure of sound. So we go from Trip Lee to Evan Kraft to KB, which all of my friends, so I showed up with about 8 friends. We were all like, that was the weirdest set order of all time. And maybe it's because Evan Kraft, I don't really know too much of his music. I think I recognize one song of his, but he also does Spanish speaking and Latino music, and it was really good. And we're in Texas, so we probably have a higher Spanish population that was at that show. Maybe that's why they did that, or maybe that's just the order. I mean, I don't know. I'm not trying to disrespect dude, but it just felt like a total departure from, we had hip hop Passion, hip hop Evan Kraft, KB. And now I want to get to KB. So KB is one. The way No Big Deal is my favorite is the way KB is my wife's favorite. So she's hyped. KB! And the way he opened it up, he did like this orchestral, deep bass version of Let It Rain with like live drums and the guitar, and it was fantastic. It kind of felt like the opening of Dune. It felt like a Hans Zimmer style, like. Sample, and man, I would pay top dollar for that studio release of that version of the song. Get Bizzle, do a remix with that opener, call it like the orchestral live remix or something. That thing would go off. That's probably like one of the best openers I've seen in a while at a concert. So KB comes out. I'm thinking like, okay, he's probably going to have about a long, maybe like a 30-minute set. I think he did an hour set. And I mean, just had the whole crowd going. It was amazing. The sound setup in there, pro tip, sitting in the front is great. Getting up front in the crowd is fun. But one, you're just up against everyone. It was a little hot in there. Where you want to be is where we were, which is right in front of the sound booth, because those guys are the ones that are mixing the sound for the room, and they're listening to it from that booth. So always get in the back. You're going to have a better sound experience. That place was definitely set up for good sound. A little bummed out that there was no physical CD merch outside of 2 CDs I had already had. I saw Tripley's The End, and I saw Dilly's Lowercase Mixtape, which I got a copy at Holy Smoke. So was a little bummed that there wasn't more physical options to get there, so I would do that. And then 2, I really wanted that His Glory Alone neon sign. If you watch this and you want to sell, I'll buy that. I want that. I'm gonna redo this background someday, and I want to have that on the background because that was cool. So yeah, if you are on the fence for the rest of the tour and looking to see man, no, I want to go to Glory Nights. Let me put it this way: it was probably the best tour I've seen in a while. It was definitely better than Unashamed, as far as the performances that were laid. What Unashamed does that's really good, and I think they should do this a little bit more. One, they have a great creative direction as a crew, Reach, and they do these awesome intros before each artist on the screen. But that's the rest of the screen work is it's pretty good, but it's all about that opener and that intro. It kind of hooks you in. It's usually like something about them coming up as kids or whatnot. But what KB, Trip, Passion, and all those guys did was they worked that LED screen to have a lot of visuals during the show that went along with the song they were doing. And that's not to say that Reach doesn't do that as well. They do. I just thought the way that Glory Nights did it was really interesting and unique. Shout out to the families that came out that I met, specifically Noah and his dad Rob. I can't remember his friend's name, but there was a kid that came to the pop-up, and he came all the way from North Carolina. And I saw the dad just kind of, brought his son there and looked like a friend. And I was like, oh, hey, how are you doing? Just started a conversation and found out they came from North Carolina. Ended up just kind of schmoozing with them for a bit, getting to know him, making him feel welcome in Texas. And just telling him, like, man, that's so cool that you're willing to bring your son out to a hip-hop show in another state. That was super encouraging for me. That's another cool thing about the concert. It was so multi-generational and multi-ethnic. I saw representation from a lot of nations in that room. There was one part where there was this couple behind me, easily in their 50s, probably like late 50s. And I'm thinking like, oh, they're kind of just sitting towards the back, their kids up front somewhere. And, it was during the intermission, and I walk up and I go, first Christian hip-hop concert? And they go, no, like, we love Flame and Trip. Like, we're huge fans. This is like our 6th concert in the last. I'm like, whoa, I misread this big time. And they're like, it happens. Because, I mean, there was a high school reunion happening in the building. I'm like, are they in the wrong room? But that was really cool. And then I met this guy, Jade, who drove in from Shreveport, Louisiana. It was his birthday, and he came up by himself. So I was like, hey, man, come find me at the show. I'll be hanging out like kind of with a bunch of people from work. So he came up. I introduced him to my wife and some other people, and he ended up hitting me up on Instagram. And I said, hey, if you ever want to come down for a show in Dallas again, let me know, man. We can go grab some food. You can hang out with us. That way you're not out here by yourself. So yeah, anyways, it was a great experience. Got to meet a lot of cool people. Had a good time with my friends. My wife loved it, but man, I am exhausted. I took a 6-hour nap yesterday. I'm still tired. So yeah, loved it. Hope you guys liked it too. Have a great night.